Well, welcome to the show.
This is our view from the bench.
Well, welcome to the show. I'm Brendan, main video coordinator for my nephew's soccer team.
And I'm Corey, the bunker maintenance guy at the local golf course. And happy Monday, man.
Happy Monday. It's been a minute, my friend.
It has.
How are you?
Good. I mean, feeling real good after the game we just watched. We'll get into that later, obviously. But feeling real good. Last week was crazy. I know we both had just a ton of stuff going on, so we weren't able to do a second episode. But we're back, and it feels good to be back here recording and talking to you, man.
Agree. A lot has happened. We both were busy, like you said, but luckily we can connect again. And I think we're going to get you in this week, at least. So here we are to number one.
Heck yeah.
Well, we're going to start with Monday Night Football, seeing that it's Monday. Not the one we were most excited about, but it was actually a good game nonetheless. I watched it, more specifically watched the fourth quarter, a little bit of the second quarter, most of the fourth quarter, because there was playoff baseball on. And close game, 17-13, Raiders take it. This game, a lot of the games they play in, although they may not be winning all of them, they are in most or all of them. And a lot of it's coming down to the last drives. And with about 50 to 45 seconds left, there was a pick in the end zone for the Raiders to seal it and prevent the comeback, because all they needed was a touchdown. They had plenty of time, still had a timeout, and we're already at the Raiders 30. So it was pretty good. So yeah.
It was good to finish.
I know you're watching baseball. But
yeah, I had both games on at the same time, so I was watching the football. Also, I was kind of watching the Peyton Manning cast a little bit today. I don't know why I was into that, but I was like, it's pretty funny. I think Jimmy Kimmel was on there, and they were all like making a bunch of jokes, so I was watching. But yeah, this is a lot closer than I thought. I didn't expect I don't know. I didn't know if the Raiders would actually pull it off, just because I don't trust them at all. But then I was like, Jordan Love on the road on a Monday night, it's probably not the best thing. And that's ultimately what it ended up being. I mean, he threw a couple picks tonight. I know there was one or two that were tipped up in the air, so it's not necessarily completely his fault, but they were also not great throws even when they were tipped. So is this the beginning of, like, for real, the Packers not being good? I feel like in our entire life, as far as I know, because it went far for Rodgers, like, Packers have always been good. So I think
they may not be winning Super Bowls every year, but they're always good. They're always in the playoffs and making deep runs sometimes.
Yeah, so it's weird to, like, see them not have a quarterback I know it's only 5 or 6 games in because he played 1 or 2 last year, but it just doesn't look good, and it doesn't have any, like, signs of, like, ooh, there's, like, some opportunities that he actually converted, and, like, you can see, like, some moments of, like, oh, I see what they're understanding or what they're thinking with him, but I don't really see it so far, and I feel kind of bad, and I think this might be, like, the first time we see the Packers really go downhill and actually maybe be in a top 10 lottery pick, or not lottery, but top 10 pick in the NFL draft.
Don't feel bad. So good for them. It's about dang time. Not everybody gets to stay on top all the dang time. Dang. Sheesh. I agree though with the Jordan Love stuff, bro. It's kind of weird because there's games where he's trailing 17-0 in the fourth quarter, comes back and wins it against the Saints defense, who we saw what they did to the Patriots, but we'll cover later. They allowed 0 points. We'll just leave it at that. So there's games where he does that. Then there's games where maybe he's a Kirk Cousins type of no prime time Jordan Love. Maybe it's off and on games, no consistency. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely not great yet. No. I don't want to jump to conclusions. I want to give them some time. But Matt LaFleur did well with Aaron Rodgers. I know Aaron Rodgers will credit Nathaniel, which we'll also cover again later. But I'm going to have to start blaming Jordan sometime. It's not like he doesn't have the time. He doesn't have Devontae Adams, but I think some of the weapons that he had look good. Christian Watson looked good with Aaron Rodgers. So
I was just going to say the same name.
I don't know. Still time to see, but it wasn't the best start. That's for dang sure.
No, not at all. And like I said, I just feel like for the first time in my life that I can remember, I'm going to see the Packers really go down. And if they end up if I'm them, if I don't think it's going to be good, don't you want to, like, tank now and maybe try to get a top draft pick and get a quarterback now instead of maybe it being another year or two away?
Yeah, I don't know if they're in the business of tanking. They're the one organization that is owned by so many fans and stuff like that. So, got to report to ownership. They don't make crazy trades. They build in the draft.
That's true.
So, to your point, maybe they should, but I don't really know if it's within the integrity. You don't have to tank to literally tank, but you can not win to try to get that pick. Be hard to do though if Jordan Love's going to be trying, because the team's still not terrible and nobody likes losing.
Yeah,
might be a good idea though.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be something they got to at least be thinking about in there, especially if they end up going another 2 or 3 games and losing and end up at 2-6. You have to start thinking all right, maybe we need to trade some guys out that are decent so we can get some more draft picks, and then ultimately maybe fall down in the standings yourself and get a better chance of getting another quarterback.
Well, they did help the standings for people in the NFC North, obviously. And it's kind of weird to say that they're actually in it for second place. Because obviously it's kind of not a runaway because nothing's guaranteed in the NFL. But as long as Patrick Mahomes is healthy, please keep him healthy, it seems to be the Chiefs division. So it's kind of a race for second place and a wild card spot at that point. And right now they're in it. So it's weird to see, but hey, Raider Nation, rise up. Now's the time.
Let's see what they can do. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo and McDaniels, maybe they finally figured something out, but they only scored 17 points, so maybe not.
Maybe not. He's still throwing interceptions and getting sacked, and there's still a lot of more room for improvement, but it's a good start.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Well, now that we've gotten through the Monday night game, we're going to go through the rest of the games over the weekend, and we'll actually include Thursday this week since we didn't do a Friday episode to talk about it. So we're going to do our rundown. So, Brennan, take it away, my friend.
Let's get it. Let's get to it. DJ Moore on the 1s and 2s and 3s. First year Bears wideout goes off in the Capitol for 230 yards and 3 touchdowns. Justin Fields and company get their first win in 14 games. Commander Sam Howell's a dog. I saw it myself. Washington comes up way short as Bears take it 40-20. Jaguars in London. Jaguars stay in London for what Roger Goodell calls an experiment and take both games, finishing this one out against the Bills. Etienne goes ham, running for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns. Problem was, his opponent this week in fantasy had him in. Self-inflicted wounds, but the real dub is worth it. Bills lose 25-20.
Talk about a bad week in fantasy.
Young Ho out Atlanta, dug out of a hole in Atlanta, made that goal in Atlanta. Take the win for Atlanta. In what was an ugly game, Falcons scraped by with another game-winning kick. C.J. Stroud held to 249 yards, but is still yet to throw a pick. Bijan Robinson with the highlight no-look catch for the run and the score. Falcons take it, 21-19. Lions are roaring to the top of the NFC North. And with the Raiders win today, Lions hold a 2-game lead already and hold the tiebreaker. Goff throws for 3 touchdowns, runs another. The Lions cannot be stopped. Something I thought I would never say. Panthers crawl back to Carolina after a 42-24 knockout.
Lions might actually win the division. That's crazy.
Derrick freaking Henry yet again. Is he no longer a matchup-proof play? While Anthony Richardson gets hurt again, it didn't matter. Colts' plan was just to hand it off to Zach Moss and let him eat. The Titans surrender 165 yards to Moss and 2 touchdowns. The Titans are still in this tight division race, but the Colts win this one 23-16. Dolphins back to scoring over 30 as they easily take care of business at home against the Giants. That's not saying much as Daniel Jones and the gang seem to lose to almost everyone. Tua throws for a couple, and the chain continues his absurd yards per carry, racking up 13.73 on average in this one. 7 more sacks allowed by New York. Time for an O-line overhaul. Dolphins win swimmingly 31-16.
Dolphins look like a legit Super Bowl contender so far.
The Patriots winning 6 Super Bowls is officially all Tom Brady's doing. New England has now been outscored 72-3 the past 2 games, and the Patriots look atrocious. Saints put the smack on him and force Zappy to make an appearance. Nolans rolls huge to win with efficiency and defense, 34-0. The battle that keeps on giving. Since 2010, they have played 29 times. Only 6 times have the games been decided by more than 1 score. This game kept that theme as the Pickett to Pickens connection secures the win. Lamar's receivers had butterfingers before the game as they couldn't seem to catch anything. Steelers take it to the Ravens, 17-10.
My pick of Joey Porter Jr. winning Defensive Rookie of the Year is looking good after yesterday.
Eagles come in and take care of business. Straight out of SoFi, the brotherly shove makes its weekly appearance for the Eagles as Jalen Hurts seems to have his way with the Rams' defense. Stafford keeps it close, though, but the Eagles take it 23-14. Probably too little too late for the Bengals, but a win is a win. Joe Burrow has his first good game of the season as he finally makes it to 7-11 and confirms it is, in fact, always open. Chase goes for 192 yards and 3 touchdowns for the Bengals. First complete game of the season. Too bad it was against the Cardinals. Bengals take it 34-20.
Bengals back in the win column and still alive in the AFC North race.
Aaron Rodgers was smiling ear to ear after the game ended on Sunday. His offensive coordinator got the revenge game done, even without Aaron at the helm. The defense swarmed and kept Russell Wilson guessing all game, and Breece Hall took it to the Broncos defense to a tune of 194 total and a touchdown. Jets shut Sean Payton up 31-21. Some controversy around this one, as what seemed like it could have been a pass interference was pulled back. No Taylor Swift in the building in Mini, but the Chiefs up anyway. Kelsey has an injury scare before returning for a touchdown grab. Vikings lose at home in a one-score game. Again, 27-20. Kyle Shanahan must circle this game on his calendar whenever he sees it. He loves to kick the Cowboys' ass, and he did it again Sunday night. Brock Purdy isn't just a system quarterback. He scores for the 14th straight game. Christian is 4 games short of tying LaDainian Tomlinson's record. 18. Niners roll. 42-10. Woof.
Woo, man. Another good run.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I like this, dude. It's super fun.
Yeah, I agree. I enjoy like the little one-liners and stuff you can come up with for each game because not every game is exciting or has like great stories.
No, believe me. Sometimes it's not. Yeah, sometimes it's not that easy. That's for dang sure. But still fun.
Dude, I can't believe McCaffrey could possibly break or tie LaDainian Tomlinson. I did not know that was a record that he was that close to at this point.
Yeah. It's only 18. He's technically tied with somebody else from like the late 60s, okay. But that is combined rushing and receiving. So LaDainian's and maybe McCaffrey's is rushing and receiving, but LaDainian's 18 is straight rushing. Only 18 straight games of a rushing touchdown. So, yeah, pretty impressive. He's pretty close. And they use him so much, I don't see why they would stop, to be honest.
Absolutely. He's the main focal point of the offense. It all starts with him. I feel like they work out from there and kind of opens up. I mean, if the running game and McCaffrey can do his thing, it opens up everything else for the rest of the wide receivers, Ayuk and Debo and all those guys.
Well, before we get too much into that one, do want to break down some games, and that is one of them, so let's not get too deep. Let's start, though, a little bit with the one that I was kind of having the most with this week. As much as Aaron Rodgers didn't get to play, he still was happy about the outcome of this one. I'm honestly happy that the Jets won. I'm not a fan of randomly talking shit about people. The crazy part to me was, like, what would the score have been if Aaron did play? They won by 10 in Denver with Zach Wilson. And I understand it's an improving Zach Wilson, but it's still Zach Wilson and not Aaron Rodgers. Not only would their offense have been like more efficient and just better overall, but knowing Aaron and the pettiness that he had, he would probably be a lot more willing to just rub that shit in too. So I bet you he is kind of, he's obviously happy that they won, but I bet you he's seething that he didn't get to put the hurt on himself because who knows what could have happened had he played. So as you can see on the screen, he did tweet about it right afterward. Loves his offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett. Just straight says, dub. But the crazy part about all this to me, though, and this is where I want to hand it off to you, what the hell do the Broncos do? Did they make a quarterback change? Did they not play Russell Wilson right now? And I don't even know who the backup is. I don't even care. Did they fire Sean Payton, who they just got and overhyped up the entire season? The Broncos are in a bad place. What were your thoughts about the game, and where do the Broncos go?
So I'll ask about the game first because I didn't even think about the other part until you brought it up right now. So the game itself was not a pretty game, obviously, but the Jets defense obviously showed up huge and got that big stop on the strip and sack and return for touchdown to cinch it in the last couple minutes. But yeah, I don't know why all the I mean, there's even the clip I saw before the game where the defense does the huddle and there's guys chanting like, "Let's go out there and get this for Nate." Like, "Let's go out there and get this for," like, they all knew going into this game. Not only that, it's in hostile territory in the other stadium, and they went in there with a mission and they got it done.
Got it done.
As far as the Broncos are concerned, I have no idea what they're going to do. Didn't they give like $250 million to Russell? Like, they gave him so much, you can't bench him. And again, who's the backup and who does it even matter?
Who knows and who cares exactly? Yeah. So to your point, you can't bench him because he's hurt.
No, but at the same time, like, they're going to keep losing. And if him and Peyton don't get along, which there's clips of him coming off the sideline, you can tell they're not agreeing on what's happening based on their reactions. So
I don't know who's right or who's wrong, but yeah, one of them is.
Yeah, one of them is, and the other one's not, and they are just mad at each other. There's no chemistry there. There's no, like, you would think by now they'd have a better feel of the offense, or at least Russ would, of what they implemented. And it's not like Russ isn't a veteran and know how to like learn an offense. He's done this before, but I don't know. I just feel they're so screwed because they're in the AFC West. So you got Mahomes. Even if you had Russell playing well, you still have to worry about the Chiefs and Mahomes even to get a division title. But now you're not. Who would have thought they'd be the worst team in the division at this point? Like, we thought the Chargers,
the Raiders,
and
that's what I thought. Yeah.
I don't know what they're gonna do. And the crazy part is they're owned by, I think, a Walmart heir now at this point. So they have the money to go out and get whatever. But when you're in a cap league and you've given that much money to your quarterback, because what are you going to do? Trade? Nobody wants Wilson now. He's not going to be able to get traded. So you're stuck with that cap hit and that money. And they're so screwed. If I'm Sean Payton, I don't even know if I want to come back next year if it gets worse. Like, maybe he just resigns and says, "Never mind, I'm done." And then they're really screwed.
I'm sure other people have said it, but I'll say it. I guess Russ can't cook, and Pete was right the whole time. Pete knew, run. Then when everybody's playing the run, let Russell throw.
Yeah.
That's what worked, and it's the only thing that I've seen work for Russell Wilson, because the last few years, more specifically the last year that he was there, the idea of letting him cook more happened, and they did horrible.
Yes.
And then he left. So, and then he's only been bad here. So letting him cook, maybe he's just a bad chef. I think is what
that's the perfect way to put it. Because not only did he leave, and then Russell is being terrible in Denver, like, Seattle made the playoffs last year as a wild card team with Geno Smith at quarterback, and they're right in the driver's seat right now to possibly do the same thing again. So if you're Pete Carroll, it's instead of Belichick, Brady, and Brady won, it's Carroll and Wilson, and Carroll won this. Like, Pete is got them in a system, and especially if their defense is good, then that makes the offense's job that much easier. They don't have to worry about putting all the pressure on Geno to go out and win the game. Just run the ball, play good defense, create turnovers, have short field turnaround, and just run the ball and get some wins easy. That's like their plan, and it's working.
And that's what Geno does well.
I don't know what the hell the Broncos are going to do. They are so screwed.
Well, it is of no importance to me. I do not care. Good for them.
Good luck.
We shall move on. We shall move on to the exactly. Good luck, bro. That's all I have to say. Good freaking luck. Moving on to another sad story that I am not sad about. Who, besides Cowboys fans, obviously delusional Cowboys fans, saw this game ending differently? Corey, tell me who said, yeah, of course the Cowboys are heading up to Santa Clara and beating the Niners at home. Why wouldn't they? Did you see what they did to the Giants and the Jets?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Not the same caliber offensive scheme or head coach with his repertoire that they have and continue to build.
Or defensive scheme on the other side, too.
Well, that too, but the offense is so deep and has so many weapons that even though Dallas's defense is supposed to be so good, they've already lost Diggs on the back end with the torn ACL a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember earlier I'm mentioning Van Der Esch now, I think, has he's out for 4 to 6 weeks. So the defense is just losing guys.
He's always hurt, dude.
Left and right, and offense is not that good. Like, they get exposed
No.
against good defenses, especially the Niners. The last couple of times they play them, it has not gone well. We know that Kittle, who hasn't done a whole lot on the offensive side, at least scoring touchdowns most of the season, he's been more of just a heavy blocker and a couple of passes here and there, or catches here and there. But yesterday he had 3 touchdowns, and
one for every decade he's been alive. His birthday was just the other day.
Oh, okay, nice.
He turned 30. So he got 3 touchdowns. Yeah.
Okay, perfect gift for himself and a big one on Sunday night.
A huge dub. And obviously he got to show his cool shirt that he liked and wanted to show everybody.
Yeah.
What did that shirt say again?
I'm pretty sure it said "fuck Dallas."
I think that's what it said. Yeah. I mean, actually, Micah had something to say about it. Nothing like crazy, I guess, but he did have he has like a podcast that I think he does for Bleacher Report.
Yeah.
And he was quoted basically. I'm not going to quote. I just watched the clip. He was basically just saying like, "Laugh now, cry later." You know. Yeah. In most cases, I would agree that that's a little early to start doing some burns on a week 5 game. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that it was Sunday night, but it's still a little bit early. But I don't think that right now, because when it comes to the Niners versus Cowboys, it's extremely one-sided. So
absolutely,
to me, the shit talking is until you do something different than 42-10, which, quick note, Cardinals lost in Santa Clara 35-16. Yes, you're right. Scored 6 more points and allowed 1 less touchdown. Wow. And so, yeah, you guys are just trash. I think it's time, as we can see, for those watching YouTube, you can see here Dak just staring off, watching Cooper Rush, should be taking his job. If you're not watching on YouTube and you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, come check us out. If you are watching on YouTube and you need to like listen on the go or whatever, check out the Spotify and Apple Podcast version. Easy on the go listening. Don't even need the whole screen. But yeah, it was a great game. If you're a Niners fan, did you watch any?
I did not. I was actually working yesterday during this as I was working a concert. So, but I did see some highlights on the screens after at one point when I was in the store, and just is exactly what I expected. Like you said, and it's so one-sided. It has been for the last few years. You know, there's always this talk, and like you said, who thinks they're actually going to beat them? And it's only Cowboys fans. Nobody on the radio or on TV shows when you talk. I mean, Stephen A. Smith always picks against them, but nobody's picking the Cowboys to go into Santa Clara on a Sunday night. The Niners are ready to go. They're fully healthy with their full offensive weapons. Their defense is still good, and I believe they just picked up somebody. I can't remember the name of Randy Gregory, I think. From
Randy
Denver.
Gregory.
So just another guy to be on the defensive side and just try to force turnovers and create havoc in the backfield.
He's also an MMA fighter, so there's that.
Okay, well, yeah, that definitely helps on the football field. So, I'm just
saying, he's a crazy.
There's no
in a good
way I look at it on paper on this game or this matchup and think, oh, the Cowboys have a chance. Like you said, Micah can say that, but until they do something about it, especially the defense, and not allow them to score 40 plus, I don't know.
It's not happening, bro.
I don't know what to expect. And as long as the Niners are healthy, they're going to win the entire NFC. There's no doubt in my mind. They look just full and complete. They have like some of the best players at every position, including their left tackle, Trent. What's the thing? I can't think
Williams.
of my head. Trent Williams. Thank you. I guess he was talking about last night in the post game, asking about, normally it's like I feel like you're got to get like really worked on the next day after playing Dallas. It's like a real battle. And he said, "Oh, I can't remember the last time that my work day was done with 14 minutes left in the fourth quarter." Like, ouch. That is
not even against Arizona. He was still playing a little bit more than that.
Yeah, not good at all.
He likes to rub it in, but that's good. Good for him.
You got to do it a little bit.
He's earned it. He's great, dude.
He's the best really left tackle in all of football.
That's hilarious. Last game that we want to cover a little bit more deep is the game that was in London. Yes, I am from London. Jags Bills. Close game, 25-20. I didn't catch it. Starts at 6:30 our time. No, thank you. I'm not waking up for that. I like football. I don't like any other team. Honestly, if my team were playing, I'm not watching it at that time. That's just not happening. So 6:30 on a Sunday, no. By the time I get up, it's 8:20, and I get ready for church and get there by 9. That's my wake up Sunday. So
I'm totally agree with you. I would normally not be up early on a Sunday, but I had fallen asleep early the night before and actually woke up at like 7:30, and I was like, oh, it's football. I'm cool. And I turned it on expecting to like check the score and then like roll over and fall back asleep, but I never went back to sleep. So I just watched it, and I don't know. The Jags, I'm so confused with them. They've played well the last 2 games over in London, which is basically their second home, as we know at this point.
Yep.
I don't know what to expect from them. Like we talked about before, they've kind of been an up and down. The offense hasn't looked as good as I would expect to. But the other thing too is the Bills. They are so up and down as well. They are even worse. I don't know what to expect. They scored 30 something last week against Miami to win in Buffalo. And then I know they had to travel to London, and that's terrible. And Jags were there for a week because they've been there for 2 games. So I get that part, but I don't know. The Bills and Josh Allen make me I kind of see the end. Stephon Diggs and him are yelling and screaming. Not yelling and screaming.
Dude, he was pissed with that tablet in his hand at the end of the game. It's like he said he saw himself open and that he threw it somewhere. Like that's what I feel like he saw on that tablet was like, do you see that I'm like Jamar Chase 7-Eleven always open. And he just like threw it or something. Ooh, dude. Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah, the Jags are the Go ahead.
I don't know. It's not good, and I don't know what the Bills are going to do moving forward. If the Dolphins are going to be what they are, then they're definitely going to win the AFC East, and then the Bills are going to have to figure out how to make a wild card spot. But I just don't know what to expect from them every week. It's just up and down.
Yeah, it's not good. The Jags they keep getting it done. They took both games over across the pond over in London. I don't know how though. They look good, then they look bad, but this to me was the best win of the year as far as like a team goes. They beat a team that a lot of people have as at least AFC favorites, if not Super Bowl favorites. Maybe not anymore, but definitely coming into the season. Lawrence, I honestly do think is like the real deal, bro. I feel like his teams are really never out of it as long as he's there, and which is good. I don't think he's also going to really cost his team either. He's not going to be making some outlandish mistakes at clutch moments. I'm not saying he's going to be perfect. I just feel like it's going to happen less. On the other hand, Josh Allen, I don't know, man. I just kind of get, and as you can see on the screen here, you could probably seen already. I kind of get like when he looks in the mirror, maybe getting like some Jay Cutler vibes, bro. I don't know what it is. Like when I watch him play, I feel like he seems to always be trying to do too much, but at the same time, seems like nonchalant. Not as nonchalant as Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler literally hates football as much as Jokic hates playing in the NBA. So
Good way to do
they
it.
might be good. They might be good, but he was so just like I don't even care. Give me the ball. I'll see if Brandon Marshall will get open, and we'll go from there. That's all Jay Cutler did, and I feel like that's what he's doing. Except he's not getting it to Stephon Diggs.
Yeah,
he's got 82 career games. He's got 86 career turnovers. Jay Cutler played in 153 career games and had 198 turnovers. So again, more. They have a 2.5 to 3.3% interception percentage. Fairly close, 63% to 62% completion percentage.
Wow.
It's not necessarily too much of the stats as I kept digging that really have them, especially not from a winning-losing perspective, because the Bears were never good, and the Bills' defense and a good special teams. And they do lead a good offense, but there's something about it. And you could say that, like, because he still hasn't got any pinnacle. I know he's made it to, I think, an AFC title game, but lost. So, and I don't even know if he's made it there.
Yeah, I think he lost to the Chiefs in Kansas City.
So you can say like, oh, well, he's got Mahomes, right? He's got Mahomes. Yeah, okay. Well, does Peyton Manning in front of Tom Brady not count? What about Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers? Some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time were in Tom Brady's era.
Yeah.
And you can even say the same about the others. Now, granted, maybe his time isn't here yet, but in Tom Brady's era, Peyton Manning won one, Aaron Rodgers won one, Drew
Eli
Brees
won
won one,
2.
Eli won 2 against Tom. Stop. Why'd you say? Oh God, Eli. Ugh. We'll talk about Eli in a little bit as well. Kind of a different comparison, but yeah. So I don't know. I just kind of get this weird kind of thing that I just feel like he's like the next Jay Cutler. That I just get that kind of like idea with a little bit more care to the game.
I could see that. I mean, obviously the game has changed, so he's a little more out of the pocket and moving. But you're right. Cutler had the same thing of just like, I'm going to go out there, and if Brandon Marshall's open, I'll get it to him. If not, then whatever happens, happens. And it's kind of weird when you put up the interception and touchdown ratio numbers and how I know Josh Allen hasn't gotten to that number yet, but the fact that he has more interceptions or turnovers than he does touchdowns, I didn't think that he would
fumbles, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to be that high on the turnover number. I thought he was a little more protective with the ball. So, and that's the thing, like Buffalo's defense is not what it was 2 years ago when they were really in the thick of it. Like the
Right,
defense
they've lost
and they've
players.
already lost a couple guys getting hurt. I think it's Tre'Davious White is out now for a couple weeks, if not most of the year.
He's like their best corner or safety.
Yeah, like I think I even said something about Josh Norman is going to sign with them to like fill the void because they need a corner, but I don't know. I just Buffalo seems to be just kind of falling apart slowly.
Is Richard Sherman coming out of retirement too? Maybe Darrell Revis coming back.
Oh my gosh,
what are we doing here, man?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. When you start pulling guys off that we thought were retired or not playing anymore, that's when you're getting desperate. And if we're in week 6 and you're getting that desperate already, that's not a good sign.
Maybe it's temporary desperation. Maybe those guys have 3 to 4 week injuries, but
yeah, that's weird. It's possible.
The one guy that did go off, which is a good bridge to our next subject, is Travis Etienne. Had a career day, 136 yards, 48 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns, and had a 2-point conversion. He tweeted out later, "What you found this? I played against myself in fantasy football today." So his opponent, as I mentioned in our rundown, had him, and he had a huge game.
Man,
what's unfortunate, so let's just get right into it, is my opponent also had Travis Etienne. So thank you. And I
did not realize that until right now. I know you told me you lost this week, but I never went back and looked at the matchups besides my own to see who had him. But I'm so sorry, sir.
Yeah, it's better than DJ Moore for sure. But yeah, I didn't. Yeah, it was bad. Basically, I sat some people that I shouldn't have, and yeah, it was okay. I did all I could, but it was not good. Basically, Justin Jefferson got hurt. James Conner got hurt both early, or no, Justin Jefferson got held down early in the game, and then got hurt late in the game. Conner got hurt early in the game. Derrick Henry, like I said, didn't do anything, and neither did Evan Ingram. But that's a tight end, so I can't really be that mad. But yeah, it was just I think it was mostly Etienne who killed me. You, on the other hand, got the dub.
Had a little bit better of a day. Bounced back from my loss from you last week.
Right.
I mean, I honestly, looking at the numbers, I got lucky because my opponent had Lamar Jackson. He didn't do anything against Pittsburgh yesterday. He only had 9 points. So that right there, I was like, ooh, that's a big hit because Tyreek Hill had 29. So that's why I was like,
yeah, that's true.
Thankfully, Lamar had a bad day. That helped me out. And I didn't have anybody really play that great. I mean, I got 1 point from Sanders, 6 from the kicker. Although I don't know why I did this. For some reason, at the last minute on Saturday, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to play Jacksonville defense against Buffalo and London. They've been there waiting, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, looking at it, I was like, the Jets at Denver, like they're pissed.
It's Denver, yeah.
But I had already dropped the Jets defense because they've been so terrible the last couple of weeks.
I almost picked them up too.
I picked them back up and put them in there, and that kind of really was the difference. I won by 14, and they got me 18, so that really helped.
Nice. That is good. Well, good done for you. It's okay. I had honestly I lost my first game and won 3 straight, so now I'm 3-2. I think you're 3-2 also, right?
Yep, as well.
All right, well,
you have the tiebreaker.
Keep it with football. Yes, yeah, true. Head to head, baby. Woo! I'll take it. Keep it with football, but moving down the ranks a little bit, moving into college football. Want to cover a couple of highlight games this weekend. The biggest one that I watched on Saturday, actually. The wifey and I got to watch it. We went to go pick up food towards the end, but of course, good old technology. We watched it on our phone. We went to go do it. So it was such a good game. Oklahoma, Texas, the last Red River Rivalry. I want to say that one slow because I knew I was going to mess it up. If not,
so hard.
Game of the Big 12. They are both technically moving to the SEC, so they will be playing each other in SEC. When they'll probably still call it the Red River Rivalry. Still have the little gold cap, but this was the last iteration of the Big 12. And I had seen some sort of thing that since like 1960, they were 33, 33, and 3 against each other. Well, now since 1960, Oklahoma is now 34, 33, and 3. So they have the dub and the higher winning percentage. But it was it was such a good game, literally all around. So did you catch any of this by chance?
I did not. Unfortunately, I was working, so I didn't get to see it. But I did go back and watch the highlights because once I kept getting the updates of like the back and forth. Like this game, Bleacher Reports.
Oh
Is like
yeah, it says like
about
great game going on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So I just kept getting. I was like, I can't watch it. So then when I finally got a chance later, when I like could sit down on my lunch break, I pulled up the highlights on Twitter and just saw the back and forth and how it was one of those games based on what I could read and saw that whoever had the ball last was basically going to probably win the game because they both were just going up and down the field. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, Texas went up 30-27 with a minute 17. And the next thing you know, Oklahoma goes down the field in a minute and 2 seconds and scores with 15 left and goes up 34-30. And I mean, that basically ends the game right there. So I love them college games go back and forth and get to the big scores. I mean, 30s are nice, but it would have been cool if they got to the 40s and 50s, like some of these Baylor games back in the Big 12. But I don't know. Texas now drops to number 9. It makes Alabama's loss to them make a little worse, I feel like, for Alabama in their rankings. The rankings are not where you normally would think these SEC teams
super weird. Yeah,
besides Georgia.
Great, just great. I love it, to be honest with you.
Teams.
It was a great game. Honestly, there was before they went down and kicked the field goal, Oklahoma had a chance at a field goal and the guy had been making it. Apparently, he's pretty accurate. I'm not saying he's never missed, but he rarely misses. And I think it was hard right. He just shanked it. And so basically that would have at least secured the tie, but it put them at the disadvantage of being down the field goal and needing to drive the field. But took care of it, took care of business, scored the touchdown, I think like 15 seconds left. It was so good. Highlight. Oh my gosh, it was so good. And then because it looked like it was super red. There was some orange there, but it looked like a lot of Oklahoma fans were there, even though the game's technically in Texas. It was nuts. So it was cool just to hear all the stuff, the vibrations that you feel. It was just like exciting, dude. Yeah. So it was cool, especially because of the fierce rivalry that this is.
Yeah, for sure. The college rivalries are so different compared to professional sports. It's just because, one, the stadiums are massive most of the time. They're like 80 to 90,000 people there. And it's just everyone's jumping to the same beat, especially if it's a home game for one of the teams. It is nuts. So the rivalry in college games for football are just absolutely a different level.
Yeah. Not necessarily rivalry, but the last time that they'll be playing together in the Pac-12, USC squeaks out.
Yeah.
They might be ranked, but they are really pushing the freaking limit with their rankings. They feel like they want to lose before they even play. What are they going to do when they're playing Oregon and Washington and Notre Dame this week? Like, dude, they have it out. I don't know. It's going to be a big test this week.
Yeah, they looked terrible. I mean, the fact that they were out to Arizona went into SC and jumped out to a 17-0. That tells you all you need to know right there. Arizona goes in there and has, nothing to lose. I think their quarterback is only in his third start, and he's a freshman or redshirt because their other starter got hurt. So they're completely just going in there with no expectations of winning. They come out to an early lead. They battle back and forth, but thank God that Caleb Williams is able to play football like he is against college. It's so good. It's crazy. But the defense for the Trojans is the biggest problem, and it's going to be, like you said, they got to play Notre Dame next week. Now, Notre Dame has not scored more than 17 points the last 3 games, I think, because of the Oklahoma State loss and then beating Duke. And I don't remember who the other one was, but
Ohio State.
Okay, yeah. Well, they lost to Ohio State, right? So Notre Dame?
Yeah, no, you said Oklahoma State. That's all. My bad.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But they just, I don't know what they're going to do against real teams. Like, they've been playing small, teams from the Pac-12. And like you said, what are they going to do against Oregon and Washington? Those teams score like 40 to 50 points and a half at sometimes. So,
yeah, ask Colorado.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, is I think Arizona might have opened up an opportunity for other teams within the Pac-12 for sure in a way to kind of slow the Trojans down. They played more like 5 or 6 DBs and kind of clouded the back 10 or 15 yards deep and
make you run against them.
Yeah, just made everything inside. Like, get everything within here 5 yards or Caleb run and we'll take it. But Caleb's going to have to beat us on his own, which is what he ultimately did. But like you talked about, Arizona was in a position that
barely though
expected them to be.
Triple overtime.
Yeah. Which, okay.
Yeah, it was way too close.
I have one question about the overtime stuff. When Arizona, okay, so USC has the ball first in first overtime. They score, they kick the extra point. Arizona goes and they score, I think, literally on one play in the corner end zone. If you're Arizona, why not go for 2 right there, even though you don't have to? Because if you get it and if you get that 2-point conversion, you win. There's no rebuttal from SC. They've already scored and done their thing. So if you're Arizona, that was your momentum. Like, we just scored on the first play. We forced overtime. We shouldn't even be here. Why not just see what happens? And if you lose to USC by 1 because you went for 2 in your Arizona, no one's going to get mad at you for that. Like, you're not even supposed to be in the game. But
I think it was a 4th down, though, that SC barely got this 2-point conversion. So I think the logic, because I agree with you, especially as I think they're unranked.
Yeah.
So the logic, I agree with you, but I think their logic is wait until they mess up.
That's true.
Then we do it. I'm not saying it's smart. I agree. You kind of roll the dice. You lost anyways.
Yeah.
But maybe their thought process is, okay, we scored. Okay, get the field goal. Let's see what we do on defense. Maybe our defense is hyped because of what we just did, and we can get them. I don't know. I agree with you. You got nothing to lose. You're not playing for much of the rest of the season. Go for the dub.
Right.
But maybe, like they said, maybe they were waiting for them to miss a 2-point conversion, and that would be their opportunity to then make the 2-point conversion. I don't know. Ask the coach.
Yeah, and to be honest though, dude, the biggest issue, like we talked about, is their defense, and I don't know why the defensive coordinator is still there. Alex Grinch was there last year. He was in Oklahoma with Riley before. Everywhere he's been with Riley the last couple of years, their defense always gives up a ton of points, which is why they have to score a ton. Why not get him out of there and get a new D coordinator and try to, I don't know, get a different system that might work? Because what he's doing,
that stops offenses. Is that what you want to do?
You know, when you play
Maybe.
defense,
That sounds like a
the
good idea.
whole point of your job is to stop the other team, and they just can't do that. And then, like you said, Oregon and Washington are going to run all over them, and they're going to make SC look really bad. I mean, SC's won 3; they're undefeated, and then their last 3 games that they've won, they've dropped a spot in the rankings each week. They're down to number 10, and they're undefeated.
Well, because they're barely winning, and they're barely beating either unranked like Arizona or barely ranked teams ranked lower than them. So it's not looking good, and definitely nervous for this week. We'll talk about that probably in our next episode, previewing the USC Notre Dame game this Saturday. That one is going to be crazy. Obviously on the Notre Dame Broadcasting Channel, NBC. So don't forget to watch it. But it's going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. Something else that was literally nuts. You have to be crazy to even do what happened here. This Georgia Tech, something that we normally wouldn't talk about, but it happens to be a ranked team against the U, Miami. Georgia Tech, Miami University Canes game was the epitome of what the fuck are you thinking? You want to run down a little bit about how this game ended, dude?
Yeah. So I'm still just in shock when we're talking about it. It's been 3 days since it happened. 2 days since it happened.
Nuts, dude.
So Miami is up 20-17. They have the ball in possession. It is 3rd down and I think 6. If they take a knee, there's 44 seconds. The clock is running. So by the time they get to the line,
Georgia Tech has no timeouts.
No, it's under 40 seconds. So all you have to do is snap it, take a knee. The play clock is 40 seconds. You're already at 30 something. You walk off the field with the win. Instead of that, they run the ball, fumble it, and turn it over to Georgia Tech and give them life with 44 seconds left. So they 44. So they're at their own 30, I think. So they got to go 70 yards almost even to win this game. Like, it's not like they gave it up at the 40 and they got to go 10 yards to get a field goal. This is they got to get down the field, and they don't have a lot of time with no timeouts. 2 plays later, I don't even know how you get that guy open on the go, but behind the defense. How does the defense let anybody get behind him? He's behind 3 DBs, wide open.
With walks a nice U shape around him. It was like this, and he's just right here. The end zone's this way. It was like, hey, we got you.
Yeah.
If you're coming this way. Yeah, but the end zone's that way, guys. Oh, my gosh. It was horrible. I watched it, and I was like, I don't understand what's going on here. What do you mean? All they had to do was run it out. The reason why it caught my attention is because I saw somebody who had like a 14-leg parlay.
Oh, no.
And they got 13 right.
Oh.
And this one was the one that they got wrong.
Oh.
And not only did that, I mean, granted, I'm sure it's worse for the kids than the ones who played it, but I'm pretty sure this was like near 6-figure payout.
Oh, my God.
And All they needed was Miami to kneel the ball. They didn't need Miami to go and score a miraculous touchdown and then make this extra point and then onside. No, they had the ball. All they needed to do was not do anything. And they decided to do something. It's nuts, dude.
I don't know how, as a coach, if you're a player and you're hearing everybody in the world talk about this and how all you had to do is like, how can you then go back and trust the coaching staff if they don't know what they're doing? Like, okay, now they did have 5 turnovers in the game total, so it's not like Miami played a great game and this is the only reason they lost. But they put themselves in this place by playing terrible. I get that, but you literally just had to snap it, take a knee, and walk off the field with a win. But instead,
that's it.
You're running a play that you don't need to, one, and then you give up the ball to the opponent and then let them go down and score. And this is in
– they had no timeouts, dude.
This is at Hard Rock Stadium at home for the U. This is on the road.
You're like, what are you doing?
I don't know.
I'm not even a Canes fan.
I don't either, but I'm
just furious.
Fan of sports and like what your strategy should be in certain situations. This should be.
I wonder what The Rock is thinking right now.
That would be interesting to hear his perspective of what he thinks his university or his alum is actually doing. Wow.
The Rock, if you're watching this, leave your comment down below in the comment section. Let us know what you're thinking about that L.
Hey,
all they had to do was kneel.
You never know, man. The Rock could be our number 1 listener.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I was talking to him. You're the one I was laughing. I'm not laughing. But that was crazy. More craziness, but we're finally going to leave the realm of the pigskin. We're going to get into playoff baseball. As you can see, a little dappered up today.
Got my D-back shirt on too over here.
With the serpientes and the fitted, as you know. But we're going to start in the American League.
Yep.
Okay. We got to save our excitement for one more segment, okay? We got the American League first.
Just breathe.
Yeah, just chill for a second. Okay, it's okay. We got to get there. Okay.
Ooh, too nervous.
So the first one, honestly, is the most surprising one to me.
Yep.
Not necessarily because I didn't think Texas was good, but I didn't know that they were like this good, especially while they're missing Scherzer. They literally gave him up for a reason. They felt that they needed help with pitching. And they seem to not, because they're killing everybody.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in shootouts. Not they win 7-6. They're winning games like 7-1. Okay, one was like 11-7, but still. This nuts. It's nuts. Rangers are up 2-0. And both games happened in Baltimore already. They're going back to Arlington.
Yeah, well, okay. I have to admit, when we first did this podcast, I think maybe like I don't know which episode, maybe the second or third, we did an update of where all the standings were in baseball and what team we might think could win the World Series or get there at that point. So we were both just kind of stabbing at it, and I did say Texas could win the AL because at the end of the day, Bruce Bochy,
the pitching
manager.
Oh, you did say Bochy, yeah.
Bochy, when he was in San Diego back in the early 2000s, that's when they were their best. They were competing every year. They weren't necessarily winning, obviously, but he also took them to the World Series back in 1998 when he was coaching them too. So then he goes to San Francisco and goes and wins 3 titles in 5 years with them, and then he finally retires. But then he comes back coaching here at his home state in Texas, and the Rangers were not good a year and a half, 2 years ago, and here they are, 1 win away from an ALCS appearance. I'm dumbfounded because I thought for sure the Orioles were really good, and them and Tampa battled so much for the AL East and the top record, and then ultimately Tampa goes to the wild card. But like you mentioned, Texas already took care of Tampa, so if they beat Tampa and they beat the Orioles and sweep both of them at the opportunity, are they the best team that in going into the ALCS and like having an opportunity to win a World Series? Like this is like
hot take is the AL East trash?
That could be part of it. No Yankees and
Twins.
The rest of the division is trash.
Twins swept out the Blue Jays. Rangers swept out the Rays. So far, the AL East hasn't. They had 3 teams represent. They don't have 1 win.
Wow,
in the postseason.
Ooh.
If the Orioles don't win the next game, the Rangers would have swept the 2 of the 3, and the Twins took care of business in the first round. So, I mean, I don't know. I didn't know that. I knew they looked good enough to take maybe the Rays. That was I didn't know they were going to mow down Baltimore also.
No, I
expected them to fight. They haven't lost a game yet this postseason, and they're, like you said, 1 win away from winning the ALCS. Yeah. I don't see a scenario where Baltimore wins 3 straight. So, I think Texas is moving on.
Yeah, well, especially because they're going to Arlington, like you said. If they were going to Baltimore down 2, I could say
maybe
win both games and easily force a Game 5 back. But they're going to Texas. They are up 2-0, and they know. And again, Bochy is a guy who's been around the block, so he knows they're coming with everything they have to try to force a Game 4. So he's going to have all his plans in place. I'm sure they'll be ready to go. I expect that crowd to be rocking in Texas. So I'm excited, but I'm with you. I think Texas is going to take this series and move on.
You think they take it in 3? Sweep?
Yeah, I can't. And I kind of do. I feel like Baltimore was their year, but maybe they were a year too early. And all these young kids they have that came up, maybe this is something for them to build on, because before you can win, sometimes they say you ultimately have to lose to learn. So maybe this is Baltimore getting there, losing in a playoff, understanding how long and how much effort it takes to get there. And then next year, maybe they bounce back and that's their opportunity. Kind of like the Royals. The Royals lost that World Series in 2014 to the Giants, actually, and Bruce Bochy. Mm-hmm. And then they come back the next year in 2015 and they went on to win the whole thing. So maybe this is their kind of stepping stone to that.
Well, the Rangers, I think I saw a stat. The last time they won the World Series, not won, I'm sorry. Last time they went to the World Series, they finished with the same record that they had this year. And then they beat the Rays in the first round of the playoffs.
Interesting.
So I'm just saying, maybe history is repeating itself.
Huh. Which year was that? Do you know? Was it 2010 or 2011 off the top of your head?
I believe it was, no, I don't know.
Okay, because if it was
the last one, 2011, I'm thinking.
The only reason I say this, because if it was 2010, Bruce Bochy was coach of the Giants.
I think it was the year they lost to the Cardinals.
Okay, so 2011. That makes sense.
I think so. Another AL series, though, actually tied. Twins were able to squeak one out in Houston. Didn't take 2 like Texas did from Baltimore, but they did take 1. Houston took game 1, even though the Twins clawed back towards the end, had a couple home runs late in that game to really get it close. Houston prevailed in the end, but the Twins came out swinging on, what was it, yesterday? Yeah, on Sunday, and tied up the series. Now it's 1-1 heading back to Minnesota. What's your take?
Honestly, I think Minnesota is going to win the series. And I say that not because I went to Minnesota this summer, went to a game there, but I'm just looking at their roster and how kind of like steady and like they have more experience than I realized. Michael A. Taylor's not a great name to a lot of people know, but he was on the Nationals and was the starting center fielder, I believe, when they won the World Series in 2019. He's playing center for Minnesota. Royce Lewis, their DH, has had an all-star caliber season and come out of nowhere. Correa, obviously, we didn't like that he won with Houston, but he was there, and they did win a lot when he was there as well. Not only that, he did just pass Derek Jeter and Big Papi for most career postseason RBIs on Sunday, too.
I saw that.
It's kind
of surprised when the reporter told him. Did you see that interview?
Oh, yeah. You knew he honestly had no idea. You could tell he was like, wow, thank you.
It's like, wow.
That's weird. But
he idolized them, as he said.
Oh, yeah, especially Jeter as a shortstop, I would think you have to be at that age.
Right, true, yeah.
For sure. The other thing, though, that the reason I think the Twins are going to win this series and it's not going back to Houston for a game 5 even, that crowd when they had Toronto there, they were loud and they showed up on day games. Those games were at like 4:30 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon in downtown Minneapolis. Like that's not an easy draw to get fans, but they are rocking. I think the biggest thing for me,
it's been a long time since they've been here though, so maybe that's why, right?
Yeah, that's true.
They're excited.
Part of it, and the other part of me though, they're Sonny Gray's their main starter. He's really good. And I feel like this is his opportunity.
Dang, yeah.
And their closer, Johan Duran, is the guy I'm really I loved seeing his entrance into the field when I was there in person. And now I just can't wait. And hopefully they get to a further round and get on more people just to see his entrance because it's amazing. I know you wanted to talk about or show it so we can have everybody else see what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You said you saw it in person. Obviously, I didn't go with you. That would have been cool, though. We should plan a trip, actually. But you did show me the video. You found one online, and then I saw it again before this show. Let's check it out because it's pretty cool. I don't know if it's really up there with Enter Sandman, especially because, or what was the other one you said from Trevor Hoffman?
Hell's Bells, I think.
Hell's Bells, right. But those two are the greatest closers of all time, so it's kind of hard to put them on the level. But for theme music-wise, I think it's only behind Enter Sandman. Just something about, Mariano Rivera walking out of that pen with that song. Totally. But let's check this one out. It's pretty cool.
Y hoy hay que darme banda.
Oof, dude, you saw that live. What did it feel like being there?
Okay, so the only problem with my live version compared to the video we just showed is I was there in the summer, and the sun doesn't set till almost like 10 p.m. in the middle of the country at that time of year. So
snap,
it wasn't super dark, so that when they turn the lights off and stuff, I could still see. But I've been to 25 out of the 30 baseball stadiums in my life at this point, and when my dad and I were there, and we came out, because I didn't know who he was, I didn't know anything about him before this. When I was there in person and it happened, it was the first time I had ever heard of it, seen it. I was just like, whoa, this is amazing. I pulled my phone out and recorded the presentation because all those flames on the screen, the lights flashing, the fans having their lights on their phone. I just was like,
so it's cool. The song, even though even if you don't speak Spanish, you don't have to know what it's saying to feel the vibe. Yeah,
it got me going. I was like, dude, and now that they're in the playoffs, I'm like, oh,
that's the people going.
Now that they're in the playoffs, if they can keep going, like the louder and louder that's going to get, the more of a thing. And if he can help Minnesota get to an ALCS or ultimately a World Series, man, I would love to see everybody just talking about that entrance because it is amazing.
That's pretty cool. On the screen, we do have who we have winning each series. We're obviously a little bit ahead. We're picking this series when the Rangers are up 2-0. A little bit easy for both of us to take Texas. But the other one is split 1-1, and we're going to be split on that as well. He sees the Twins kind of taking the next two at home and closing the series out. I do think that Houston squeezes one out in Minnesota and takes it back home for Game 5, where they'll probably have Verlander, if not maybe for Game 4, if necessary, right? But they'll probably have Verlander on the mound and going for the dub just like they did in Game 1. So I think that they squeeze it out. I think it does go the full 5. I don't think they'd take both, obviously, in Minnesota. So I think they're going to grab one back at home. So that's what we have. We're moving on. But if that didn't happen, because technically, I mean, I'm rooting for the Astros to lose forever, and I hope the Twins can pull it out. I just don't think they will. Who had money on a Twins Rangers ALCS?
Yeah, I can only imagine if somebody had that on a parlay as part of it, what other things they could have. Because nobody. The Twins alone, for sure. I mean, there was a lot of talk about Texas because they have added Simeon and Seager and a couple other guys over the last couple of the off seasons. But yeah, Twins is definitely not one I think a lot of people would be talking about.
Not at all. Before we move on to who we're picking for the NLCS to appear in the NLCS, let's talk about some of the games that have been going on in the NLDS. Again, I'm gonna ask you to wait patiently while we talk about the Phillies Braves series first.
Yep, of course.
It's now tied 1-1. Braves are able to squeak one out. Crazy freaking play in the 8th.
Absolutely amazing game.
So I think that was awesome. It was close when I was actually swimming and doing my workout during the game because it was an early game. So when I finished everything, I was walking out on my drive home, and it was the 8th, and they were down. They, as in the Braves, they were down, and by the time I got home, they were up after that home run. So I was like, "Whew!" It was a close game, and then a great save. I know that Bryce Harper might be thinking twice now, but I think what he was trying to do is kind of save the day kind of thing, and probably was trying to do the right thing. But that was a great last play. You saw it?
I saw this entire game today. I was luckily
nice.
For me, I was working today, but I was at Great Park Store, and we don't have a lot of traffic there most days. So I had the monitor on one of them on the game, and I was watching it the whole time as I was standing there. And Atlanta looked dead. They had I think they were no hit through the first 5 and a third inning. Like they didn't even have a hit. They didn't do anything. They just looked completely lost. And it's like one of those, another one of these guys have been on a bye week or whatever for the first round. Is that really a beneficial thing? Do you really want it?
Apparently not.
Kind of starts going through my mind. Then they get 1 in the 6th. Then they get 2 in the 7th. Then you talked about they were down 4-3 in the bottom of the 8th. And Austin Riley comes up and just smashes that hit into left center field. It was gone off the bat. You knew it. The place exploded. Now, the Phillies did come out and make it a little interesting in the 9th. You mentioned Harper trying to be like the hero. I get where he was coming from. They already stole game 1 in Atlanta. You're just trying to get home at the split with 1-1. You're on first. There's 1 out, and that ball that Castellanos hit was just a huge shot to right center. And Michael Harris, the second, had to cover a lot of ground to get there. Now, I did hear before we jumped on, Curtis Granderson was talking about it, and Jimmy Rollins, how in the postgame that if there's 1 out, you should know, if you're Harper, especially as a former outfielder, the outfield is farther back because they're not trying to let anything behind them.
Yeah.
You should know the center fielder and them are farther back, and if there's anything they can get to the
it's
wall,
a home run.
Exactly. So
yeah.
if he,
that's a good point.
So if you're watching
Michael Harris,
so if you're watching Michael Harris run and he thinks he might have an opportunity because the way he's running at it, if you're Harper, you have to maybe take that extra pause and not quite go to second that much. But
yeah, or he was already halfway to, because you can even use it to push off to run back to first, especially because the throw was bad. That was the crazy part. Is he caught it. The throw past 2 Braves. Who's the third baseman? Riley?
Austin Riley.
Riley comes over, saves the day again after he already freaking hit the home run, picks up the dribbler as Harper's trying to round second as he's running back to first. Definitely something he doesn't practice very often.
Yeah.
And he gets thrown out in a bang-bang play back at first place. So
you're totally right, dude. I didn't think about that. Harper should have gone to second, and then instead
of stop there,
base, just stay there. And then if the ball drops, then take off to third. Worst case, you have second and third with 1 out. If he catches it, you have an easy thing to push off of the base to head back, and then the ball wouldn't have been thrown as hard because he would have known he had
safe.
No way to get you out. So
yeah,
I get it, but in the long run, like
it wasn't 2 outs. If it was 2 outs, of course you're sprinting, but you have to give.
Yeah,
Bryson was the top. Like he's batting 7, 8, 9 coming up. I'm sure he bats 3rd or 4th, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, Castellanos is behind him. I'm assuming Braun might be behind them as well. So,
come on.
Yeah, there's other guys that could do it. But again, you already stole game 1 in Philly or in Atlanta, so you kind of are playing with house money at that point. So, if
a little bit,
and you're feeling good, why not take a shot at it?
I just feel like the Braves. Just saying. Like, just play a little smarter. You don't want to give them any sort of hope because there's a reason why they won like 100 and almost 12 or 115, whatever they won, over 110 games, I think. So there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
But moving on, who the hell cares about the damn Phillies and the Braves? What we really want to talk about,
so stressed,
is that the Diamondbacks, baby, are up 2-0. Now, obviously, 2-0 doesn't mean anything because guess what? How many you have to have in order to move on? That'd be 3. And we don't have that right now. Yeah. We have only 2. So we're obviously trying to be a little bit patient, but we did take the first 2 in LA. Now, that doesn't mean much. The Dodgers can have swam in our pool plenty of times, but at last they will not be swimming this year because no matter what, even if they win, they're not going to be jumping in the pool knowing that the series isn't over. And if they somehow win 3 games in a row, it's going to be a Dodger Stadium. So either way, they're not going to be in our pool. So I'm happy about that. But I'm hoping they don't get to celebrate anything. I want to close this out. If we could, I'm not begging for anything. I'm just hoping for a W.
Yes.
But if we could just get this over with, and move the fuck on, I would be stoked. But anyway, this is what I was watching before I was watching. That's why I only got the 4th quarter of Monday Night Football, which I'm actually happy I did because it was a great game. But that's what I was watching beforehand. So fantastic game. Oof.
I am so nervous for Wednesday's game. Like, I don't even know.
Same.
I can't believe that we just before we got here to record, we were watching it, and I still can't believe we won the game. The bullpen has been amazing in the 4 games of the playoffs. They've allowed 2 earned runs in 15 innings, Zach Gallen, who has in his career been terrible against the Dodgers, pitched fantastic tonight.
Merrill Kelly as well. Literally,
Kelly.
Dude, did you hear that stat? He's in his last 16 games.
Yep.
He's 0-11 with an over 5 ERA.
Just against the Dodgers. That is his career numbers against the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible. Now,
16 games, 0-11.
It did help that he got 5 or 6 runs off the bat in the first inning to give him a lead. But regardless, he was able to go out there and dominate. And I know I'm so worried. Like, I got texts from people that are like, "Oh, Diamondbacks on that," because there's only a few of us in the state of California.
The Dodgers there's a 100 freaking win team. Okay,
yeah. So I got a lot of people like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "You guys, it is a 3-game series, or you have to win 3 games in the series. I am not celebrating anything yet. Like you talked about, we have seen crazier things happen in sports.
Yes.
So the Red Sox came down from 3-0 to the Yankees. This is a 2-0 lead in the best of 5. So I'm not celebrating anything. No. And as Kobe once said, and we are huge Kobe guys,
job's not finished.
Job is not finished. Like, we need to take care of it. Now, we are going home, so we have 2 opportunities at home to win 1 game before we have to come back. Now, game 3, the original plan as of yesterday is the Dodgers are going to start Lance Lynn. I don't know if that's going to change now based on the fact that they're down 2-0, but I hope so, because Lynn has given up the most home runs in baseball this year as a starting pitcher. So bodes well for the Diamondbacks, especially because they've been getting hits early and they've been hitting it hard. It's not just they're hitting it; they are squaring things up. They're aggressive on the base path, which
they're not beating out infield dribblers.
No, and they're big on the base path and aggressive. And the Dodgers are not built for that. Their pitching staff is very bad at getting guys off base as far as like stealing and throwing guys out. They are not the best at it. It's kind of one of the things that the Diamondbacks do well that is in our favor. I'm just super nervous.
No, and I think definitely nervous. But I went from hoping to not getting swept,
correct,
to hoping not for a reverse sweep, but hoping for a sweep. I mean, again, I understand that it's a long series. I'm not saying that we're going to sweep them. I'm not saying that we're that good. We could still 3 in a row.
Yep.
Dodgers are a 100-win team for a reason.
Yep.
But it's crazy that I went from hoping for no sweep to rooting for one. I think that's just something I was not seeing. I did not see finished. So happy it's here though. That's crazy. So to show you,
I'm saying it now because I know I told you earlier. If they somehow make it to the World Series in the long run, when this is all said and done, we are going to a game in Arizona. That's all I'm saying. We will figure it out. If we have to sit in the last row or standing room only area, we will be at a game there if they make it.
Well, we guessed, and we have predicted who we think is going to be represented in before we get to the World Series, the National League Championship Series. We're just riding a wave and hoping that, as you can see, it says Dad on the screen. We're hoping we could ride the wave and the Diamondbacks do make it out of this series against the Dodgers and to the NLCS. And we do think that the Braves have kind of found what they needed in the game against the Phillies, and we'll probably squeeze one out. Probably going to lose one in Philly. Again, division rivals, just like us and the Dodgers. And I think they're going to take it in 5, though. That's kind of like what I'm thinking. So we've got the Braves and the Diamondbacks both moving on, both of them.
Let's hope we're right. At least half of that. I don't care about the
fingers crossed. I don't care either.
Yeah, just one side.
Honestly, I don't know if I'd want to see the Braves, to be honest with you. But although if the Phillies are beating the Braves, maybe I would.
I don't know who I want to see, but I just want to get there first. Let's worry about the opponents if we get there at all.
Something I don't have to stress about because I'm just starting to get into it. But it's still postseason. It's a WNBA. Game 1 of WNBA Finals happened. What day? Sunday.
Yep.
In Vegas. A lot of stuff went down in Vegas this week. Guys, Monday Night Football, of course, and tonight with the Raiders, and we have the Aces taking Game 1 over the Liberty, 99-82. 2 of the standout players from the game, Kelsey Plum and Jackie Young, both had 26 points. Did you catch any of the game? It was Sunday in the middle of football, so I did not, unfortunately.
I did actually watch a little bit of the first half before I had to go to work. I think at halftime it was like a 2-point game, so I thought, okay, this is going to be a good finish because most of the games they played during the regular season were wide margins of victory. But the second half, Aces came down and won each quarter by 10, ultimately winning by 18 or 19 points. I don't know, man. I feel like this is going to go 5. I feel like the home teams are going to win every game. So even though I want the Liberty to win it all, I think what's going to happen is the Aces are just going to ultimately hold out Game 5.
2-2-1?
Yeah, I think it's just going to go back and forth. The only thing I'm kind of like annoyed with is the schedule of the series. Like it's Sunday, Wednesday for game 1 and 2, but they're in Vegas. They haven't left it. But I guess that's kind of NBA Finals schedule for real because they do the same thing. It's like Sunday, Wednesday.
1 or 2 days, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So
well, it's good that they don't do Monday, obviously. One, it's not,
Yeah.
they don't do back-to-backs in the finals, but 2 is the football. But the only thing else I'm thinking, I don't know what's Tuesday. I don't know what's going on a Tuesday. I feel like they could have done a Tuesday, but maybe they're just giving that extra weird day. But it was good. They stomped them. That's a big win. 17 points. Shit. I'm kind of happy. That's who I was rooting for, kind of going into it. 1 down, 2 more to go. I did that backwards. I hope the Aces take the 2-0 lead before they do have to go to New York. Obviously, like you said, they've won the home games, all 5 now. They've had 2 regular season and 2 in New York, and now obviously this game 1 here. So they won them all. Aces, they're just too much, man. Asia Wilson, you see her rocking the 1-of-1 LeBron golds or whatever that she got from him?
Yeah, he was sitting sideline since the Lakers were playing tonight in Vegas at the same arena, T-Mobile Arena. So he's in town last night, decided to go to the game, and I guess I think he referred to her as his sister, like young sister. They're kind of a friend, close relationship. But yeah, to be rocking a 1-of-1 pair of shoes,
it's pretty sick.
LeBron's there, Tom Brady's there.
There's a ton of people there, actually.
It's picking up, man.
Sports growing, man.
Is getting really big, and it's only.
I'm telling you, man. What do they need to add? What do I think they add? They need to add dunks. Just dunk. If you dunk, I'm telling you, you're gonna get a bunch of people to watch. It's already fun. So
it is. It's
add the dunks.
Which growing and continuing to grow the sport itself. The WNBA announced the other day that they are going to expand to a 13th team in 2025, and they've given that city or team to the San Francisco area or the Warriors ownership with Joe Lacob and them. It's the first time they've expanded the league since 2008 when the Atlanta Dream joined, and there's talk of them trying to
2008?
Yeah, there's also talk of them trying to get a 14th team by 2025. The cities they've mentioned that have looked into or are interested in getting a team is Sacramento, who we talked about earlier before we got on. Used to have the Monarchs. They actually won a WNBA title, which is kind of weird that they're not around anymore.
That's a weird city. They barely like the Kings, bro.
Yeah, that's true. But this is a new arena in downtown. I think it would be better off. The other cities that they mentioned.
No, I'm saying this one's good. No more back in Sacramento. Yeah, no more back in Sacramento.
The other cities that were mentioned of possibly getting a team in the future is Portland, Denver, Toronto, and Philadelphia, which all make sense. They're all NBA cities, so that's usually where they start, is so they can have.
Toronto.
You think Toronto?
Yeah, they should do Toronto because they have the one now. You know how many people love the Raptors?
That's true.
They only have one. They might as well have that. So they'll only have one WNBA team. A lot of people are probably going to support it.
Yeah, and then you'll get a country more so than just a city behind it. Because
that's what I'm saying. That's the smart play right there. If Toronto, if they're down to share something with the Raptors, and then they could be the freaking, I don't know, pterodactyls or something. They could be some other freaking dinosaur. I don't know. We can make it a cute one, not a freaking flying ugly bird, but still. I think that's a good idea, actually. Do you have any ideas of what the name could be for the already announced one? Any fun ones? I'm thinking they should play off of the Warriors, right? Maybe some sort of female warrior. I don't want to say female warrior. That's stupid, but like a known the Amazonians. That's a bad name, but you know what I'm talking about. Like something like that.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea. They should stay in the same realm because they've already said the only part that they know about the team name is it's going to be Golden State. So they're going to have Golden State as their city name essentially. So
I'm assuming similar or the same colors would be smart.
Yes, also now. Even though Sacramento is interested in having the other expansion team, maybe if they decide to go to a different city, do you think that they could talk the team doesn't exist, so I guess former people who, if anybody owns it still, the rights
like a
to
trademark to
the Monarchs and go Golden State Monarchs? Because then you could, Monarchs are queens, right? So you could have it as the Golden Crown and Golden State. You could kind of go off that whole theme and play with it.
I like that. Yeah. Even though that is not, more related to the king queen, but still I agree. I think that's a good one or something similar, and they have warriors that fight for them, like the male warrior, the Golden State Warriors.
There you go. Okay, tie together there,
right? Imagine to just keep I think that's pretty cool. Well, and then, like I said, the Toronto one, it could be, I don't know, the T-Rexes.
The other thing I think about too is they're going to play at Chase Center, which is awesome. It's top of the line arena, so that's great. What the Warriors are also doing is they're going to use the old Warriors practice facility that was in Oakland, and that's where this WNBA team is going to be headquartered. So they'll have their own headquarters, practice facility. They don't have to share with the team except for the games themselves at the arena, which is great. I think the other thing too is Lacob's already said that they will win a title within 5 years, which most things he says and puts money towards
true.
Works. So let's keep an eye out for that. The last thing I'm thinking about though is, do you think Stephen Curry's daughters could possibly play for this team in the future? I don't know if they're big basketball players like, Gigi was with Kobe, but like have an opportunity, because I'm sure once Steph is done and retired, there's going to be like a small ownership minority stake he'll probably get from them.
I was going to say, he might be able to own a team now, no?
I mean, he might be, but why own a whole one and run it? We can just own them.
No, not the whole team. I'm saying like he might be able to own part of this team that's coming in.
That's true.
Maybe he has some already.
Oh, that's true. Maybe that's a good point. But yeah, I think like his daughters, if they're into basketball, I know he was one of the first athletes to make like women's size shoes in his like Steph Curry shoes that he releases, because I think he got a letter from a girl saying she could never find her size because they didn't have girls' editions. So obviously having 2 daughters of his own, that's a big part of it. So I'm thinking this has got to be a huge thing just to grow the game itself for women, but Steph's got to be thinking like long-term as well, right?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. I mean, like you said, I don't know if they're into basketball, but if they are, perfect fit.
Would be a good idea.
We're going to stick with basketball. We're going to move to the men's game, though. As the season is ending for the women, it is just starting up, baby, for the men. Lakers have played 2 preseason games so far. I know that we lost to
Golden State.
We lost both?
No, lost Golden State Saturday. They won, I think, by 3 tonight, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay. Nice. So 1-1. Not bad.
Win and losses are not the important part, though. Let's be honest.
No. How'd they look, though? You see anything? Hear anything?
I didn't watch it, but I did read that mainly guys that were there last year, AD and all them, all had double figures and points. I know D'Angelo started out hot, and I think he had like 14 in the first quarter. Reeves looked good tonight. They're kind of picking and choosing which ones to play when, because there's only 6 of them. They don't want to tire them out, obviously, especially with Austin Reeves having come back from the FIBA tournament. But I mean, they've looked good. All the reports the first week last week when they started camp was everyone's getting along and they're vibing. I think I remember Jackson Hayes saying something about they all went down to San Diego as a team before camp and kind of had a couple days
hang out.
Yeah, play some ball, get to know each other, and
vibe,
some chemistry. Which this team has given me. I know it's early and we haven't played any games that count yet, but this team is giving me some really early vibes of that 1920 team that won the title with LeBron.
With LeBron?
AD first came here, and that bubble year that they ended up winning. They just have a lot. They have continuity. They have some pieces that make sense. They have depth for the first time, I feel like, that are actual players that can make a difference since LeBron's been here, except for that year. This team feels good, and even though they're probably not complete, because who knows what Rob will do at the deadline and kind of alter some things, and injuries will play a factor in that, I'm sure. But just initially thinking right now, if they can keep AD and LeBron healthy, I think they got as good a shot than anybody else to win it all.
I agree. We're going to need some other key pieces healthy, but those are obviously the main 2.
Yeah.
Honestly, my favorite thing that I've heard so far is after they played the Warriors in the first, just more good things. Austin Reeves, Steve Kerr heaping praise, tongue-in-cheek in the sense that he said, it's much better to coach him than it was to play him. He doesn't really he doesn't like playing against him because he understands how good he is at the game. He saw it firsthand, obviously, in the playoffs last year where we handed them the exit, and he then got to see it again, even though they took the win. Again, doesn't matter. But when they played this most recent time. So he said it was fun to coach him. It just makes me happy as a Laker fan that we got him and that we got him for the 4 years. I am excited about what the season will bring. I'm nervous. I know everyone's run is basically predicated on health, every team, but it really seems like so much for the Lakers all the time. But the league looks really, really good. A lot of teams are really good. So it's not going to be easy, but man, I'm stoked. Yeah. Happy that it's coming up. But again, super, super on obviously Major League Baseball playoffs. We're in the heart of the NFL schedule. Teams are going to really start pulling away in their respective divisions and stuff like that. So, but NBA is obviously around the corner. The other thing that's around the corner is the NHL, where you're working.
Tomorrow
opening night.
Woo! So excited. NHL back tomorrow, and ESPN's kicking off with a triple header to start it off. This is great. There's going to be 3 games.
Jeez, that's what's up.
I want to say the first game's at like 6 Eastern too. It's early, so they're
you got to fit 3 in. You know what I mean?
So first off, they're going to do the Nashville Predators going to Tampa. The biggest question out of it is, can the Lightning bounce back? They went to last year, they got bounced in the first round, but the 3 years prior, they'd gone to the Stanley Cup final, winning 2 of them. So can they bounce back and get to their 4th final in 4 years? Not going to be
lost some of the players, right?
But yeah, I was going to say the biggest issue is about a week and a half ago, they announced that their goalie, Andrei Vasilevsky, is going to have back surgery. So he's out for 2 months. It's not an easy replacement. He is the reason he won a Conn Smythe for one of the 2 titles that they have. So he is a very important piece of it. His career, he's 263 and 123, which is phenomenal. Yeah. I feel bad for them that they're going to start without him, but hopefully they can figure it out. But, well, again, it's just nice to have the hockey back on at that point.
2 months is what? How many games? 20?
Yeah, probably. That's about right. You play every other
20
day
of 80. Yeah. So if they go 10-10, man, I hope that they're better than that, not that reliant on a goalie. Or what I mean by that is I hope the second goalie isn't that bad or that much of a gap. I know you can't make up great players, but I guess we'll have to see if they can split it and get him back with that and just kind of run from that 50-50 mark. As long as they're not too far behind. I know it's not 10 and points, but let's just say there's no overtime losses as well, so they split it even. But
well, the other point too is going to be like, even though he comes back, how is he going to be because of his back surgery? As a goalie, you're constantly just turning.
2 months recovery fast. So right? Is it not that invasive? Maybe
probably not. It must have been really, really simple, I guess. But still, the fact that you're having back surgery and then come back to hockey, good luck.
Not a great start, right? Yeah, true, very true.
The other game.
Well, luckily he's not the one smashing into people.
True.
Right?
That is a good point. The other game that is the big one, I really think of the middle game of the 3, is the fact that the Chicago Blackhawks are going to Pittsburgh and playing the Penguins. So it's Connor Bedard's first game in the NHL against Sidney Crosby. NHL couldn't have planned that any better, I'm sure.
Yeah, right.
So definitely excited to see Bedard for real and like in an actual game that counts. And although we did see that highlight, I think last week, of him doing that shootout shot, didn't go very well. But
that was hilarious, dude. Oh my gosh! Again, he's probably
he's
all that kind of stuff,
but
it was funny.
Yeah, he's 18. It was funny. He's young. He's gonna figure it out. But the fact that they're having
be great, I bet.
Crosby, your boy, I'm sure is a huge thing, and hopefully it'll be a big draw. Obviously, there's no NFL on tomorrow, so that'll help the numbers opening night for them. But
true.
And the weird thing with me though for the Bedard part is the fact that they scheduled the first 5 games for the Blackhawks on the road, so they don't play at home for their first game.
Oh yeah, that's right. We talked about that. That is weird.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I feel like start them 1 or 2 games on the road and then get them home, but instead
3 max.
Yeah, but I kind of see what they did on purpose. On this road trip, they're going to Boston, Montreal, and Toronto, who are all original 6 teams, and Pittsburgh to start, who is one of the first 12 teams in the league. So it's going against the historic teams, but still, like, get them back home. Let Chicago have them at home first. Come on.
Yeah, I see that. They could switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
The last one, though, is the Seattle Kraken heading to Vegas, take on the Golden Knights, where, of course, the champs will raise their banner.
Yep.
The owner said when he brought the team there, when they brought the team there, that they would win in, 3 years? And that's exactly what they did. Was it 3? Yeah.
No, I think he said 5 or 6, and they did it in 6.
Yeah.
But still, just
great.
Good.
That's cool.
I hate it that they won because their fans, when they come to Anaheim, are the worst, man. They talk so much crap, and now that they've won, they're going to be even more annoying. It's almost
even worse.
But for the league itself, not only is it great that Vegas, as a new expansion team, has won a cup, you have the Kraken, who is the second newest team. They just started 2 years ago, coming in and playing at Vegas to have them raise to see them raise the banner. It's the 2 newest franchises, and honestly, 2 of the best logos and jerseys, I think.
Dude, they're sick, bro.
The Seattle ones, the home blue, are the most beautiful jerseys, I think, in all of hockey. But that's just my opinion.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I do like the classic jerseys, bro. You can't go wrong with the Blackhawks logo, even the Boston Bruins. I mean, there's some pretty cool logos of the classic ones, but there's some other ones out there. But the Kraken are sick.
I mean, I'm a Ducks fan. I worked for the Ducks. Those Ducks old school purple and teal MD jerseys back in the 90s were fantastic and are great as well. But I don't know, that Kraken one, the blue and then that little red pops at you, man. It's just, they're beautiful jerseys. So, but again, I'm just excited for NHL games to start. I hate working those preseason games because everyone's like, oh, we won. I'm like, they don't count. Like, I don't care until they count. Yeah. Now that they're for real. Ducks start on Saturday in Vegas, actually, for their first game, and then they come home for Sunday for their opener, which I'm working. So But again, I'm just excited to like have hockey back, and the Ducks can hopefully only go up from 32nd out of 32 last year, right?
Yeah, or I guess stay the same, but I'm hoping for up. They've done some changes. They've brought in a new head coach. They've brought in some veteran players. They've re-signed some of their young talent, especially Zegras. So, like you've talked about many times, you're excited for this season. You're teaching me some stuff about it, so I'm excited as well.
Oh, super excited.
But we've reached the end of our marathon episode.
Yeah.
And we've only got our favorite Monday segment left.
Heck yeah.
Are you ready, my friend, for MILF Monday?
I cannot believe a fine woman like this produced a guy like Stifner. Dude! I took some MILF. What the hell is that? MILF.
Man, I love facts.
Yeah!
Hey guys, MILF Monday.
MILF Monday.
Woo!
Sick,
All right,
man. Okay,
well,
what fact do you have for me today?
So I'm going back to baseball since we're in October and we're both wearing our D-backs gear and we're feeling good tonight after that win. Ooh,
Let's go, baby.
We're sticking into baseball. So Pete Rose, aka Charlie Hustle, is the only player to play at least 500 games in 5 different positions during his career. At first, he played 949, left 671, third 634, second 628, and right field 595. So not even just like 501. Like 595 is the lowest number of all of them.
It's 600 basically.
Just I knew that Pete Rose was the best hitter of all time. He's got the most hits with 4256, which is crazy to think he's got 3215 in just singles. That's absolutely amazing numbers. Like he's a hitter just by getting singles. That's nuts.
That is crazy.
But to play over,
that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, right. But to play 500 games in that many positions throughout a career, I know he played like 20 some years to get that many hits, but still, like guys who are like utility players now and are that way their whole career probably don't even play that many games at that many positions. Like it's because nobody plays every day anymore either. That's part of it still, but I don't know. That's crazy to me. I just think the worst part is he's not in the Hall of Fame, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, he's not allowed. Okay. Jeez, there's a Skechers commercial where his wife tells him that he's not allowed to walk down the hall with his shoes. But they're basically just kind of poking fun at the fact that he's not allowed in the hall, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. Well, thank you very much, bro. That's a crazy stat. That's crazy that people, you know what's funny is that people keep track of these stats. That's the,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
He gets paid to do this, I guess.
Hey, thank you for your help, sir. Another one in the books, probably one of the longer ones, obviously, but it's probably going to be the norm for a little bit going forward. Yeah. We've got just too much to cover with the Major League Baseball playoffs, obviously. Once that wraps up, it'll be a little bit less. NBA starting, NHL starting. One thing I definitely want to bring up, we're going to talk about Formula One a little bit on the Friday's episode. NFL regular season in its prime. So we've got a lot to talk about.
I can
Make sure you don't miss any of the episodes. What else?
One more we're going to talk about once it gets started in December is some lacrosse because the Seals will be back in season. I'll be going to games and watching it on ESPN Plus like crazy. So we'll be talking a little NLL, even though not a lot of people probably know about it, but I at least have to get the Seals information out there and let people know because I think they have a real chance to win the Cup this year.
All right. Don't even know what the Cup's called, but I think so too. Go Seals. But anyways, you got to just check out. We got a bunch of stuff coming up. Make sure you check us out.
Yeah. Remember to find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube by searching Our View from the Bench.
Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at OurViewFTB. How's the rest of your week looking, my friend?
Pretty good. Since I have to work this weekend for games and stuff, I actually have tomorrow and Wednesday off during the week. So that's fun. Nice. But that's okay. I'm going to get a lot of stuff done. Obviously do some prep for Friday's show. And, hopefully when we get back on Friday for the show, we're celebrating a series win, but I don't want to get too far ahead of the show.
Let's not get too far ahead, but that'd be a great thing. We might even start with baseball if that's what's happening. Shoot, I don't care what just happened on Thursday night.
We might just yell all about baseball for 10 minutes at the beginning just because.
You're just going to see us dancing in circles. That's all.
We'll just have a party.
Down.
What about you?
Again, don't get too hard of ourselves. Dodgers are a good team.
Yeah, for sure.
I am not doing much. Normal week for me. Actually, I take that back. I requested Wednesday off. We're gonna go to Disneyland. It's been a minute. She took on another job, so just been busy.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, other than that, what else? Nothing. Just chilling, ready for more football. I definitely need to recover from this week in fantasy. It's not that good. I got some decisions to make on some of my people. Some of them are hurt and stuff, but other than that, just a normal old week. But appreciate you all stopping by. Thank you for seeing things from our view from the bench. I'm Brendan.
And I'm Corey. Like we always say, enjoy the sports until we talk again.
Go Diamondbacks. Peace.
D-backs.